I guess we're live. Hey guys, can you hear me all right? This was very, very, very unexpected that I'd be streaming this and not on Mac yet because I don't have the time. We literally just called it off. I don't know exactly when, but I didn't know. And I was waiting for the call for the last like 10 minutes or so before I made this stream because I had no clue that we weren't doing it. So, good. I'm coming along fine. Good, good, good. It's been a really long week for me, and there's a lot of things I've been doing. I'm just dog tired. Speaking of dog tired, I'm allergic to my dog's medicine, so I'm also dog sick because I just a few hours ago covered my hands in dog medicine thanks to my Dane. Thank you, Xena. So I don't feel super great, but I wanted to stream because I figured you guys still deserve to have a stream. So before everything officially starts at 8 o'clock, I need to grab at least a drink, and I'll be back, and we'll start something, Q&A, or I don't know, we'll figure something out. I'll be right back. No, you're not getting anything out of the fridge, girl. I'm just getting something out of the fridge. It's not snack time, sweetheart. And that's one of the reasons why we canceled, because your health is more important than a show. I'm okay. I'm just really dizzy and lightheaded. I'm very, very, very allergic to dog medicine. It's Coraxis, I think it's called. It's a liquid, and it's supposed to be dermal for the dogs, and it soaks into their fur and then into their skin. If you touch it and you're allergic to it, you get a nearly instant migraine. And I have a history of migraines, and I'm allergic to it. So earlier I didn't feel good. I didn't really get a migraine, but I was just really lightheaded and dizzy and very sick to my stomach. And now I'm drinking Baja Blast, which probably will help the whole situation. Anyway, let's see here. I need to actually pull OBS because I don't know what I actually look like right now. Oh, look, it's 8 o'clock. My light just turned on. So anyway, those G4s are giving me anxiety sitting like that. Well, you can't stack them up normally because the handle's GT. That's the way you actually stack a set of G4s. It's nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. I'm still very dizzy. Anywho, so Steven, question for you. Mac Mini 2009 non-server. Can I add a second hard drive? Yes, you can. Since it's a non-server one, you will need a optical to hard drive adapter. Although I think there is just a regular cable you could swap it in with. You'd have to look into it, I think, because it's the same logic board between the server and the non-server. There should be a server hard drive adapter, but if you don't want to go through all the pain and trouble looking for the adapter, which I don't know if there really are any out there, you can just get an optical drive to hard drive adapter, and it will do the same thing, and you shouldn't lose any speed really. It should be totally fine, so just do that, and that would work. Oh. You look like you normally do in that dirty ass hat. Yeah, that dirty ass hat was supposed to be replaced by December. And the company I ordered them from in late November still hasn't shipped them out. And I've got over $100 worth of hats just sitting in limbo. I'm not happy over it. And if I don't get my hats, you're going to see a big, huge video on the company. Because this is the same company that made this one. Great experience for this hat. Terrible experience for the last three that I'm still waiting for. Because one of them's actually supposed to be a giveaway prize. But that giveaway was supposed to happen probably in January. I still don't have it. I still have no stickers here. Yeah, I know, GT. You don't have your tray yet either. I need to send that out, but I honestly don't know how to mail it, and I'm actually wanting to send you the proper tray that you need, which I'm supposed to be having a system from Nick, but he still hasn't mailed it to me. I want to give you that tray because I want to rebuild the system I tore down to make the G4 blue and white, and move that system into the system that Nick is sending me. But right now, it's just all in limbo, I guess. So did my video just freeze up on you guys? Because it was very laggy for a second there. Anyway, it froze again. You're stuttering a lot in the video feed. The audio is fine. Well, the video feed won't last on the DVR then. When they convert it to a regular, yeah, my connection keeps dropping. Speaking of that, where is my internet? Oh, that's why the internet sucks. My internet's actually been knocked over. It should fix it. Oh yeah, now we're green again. Weird. Hi Garrett, how you doing? Maybe you need to take a trip down here sometime. I actually might, GT, because I'm going to finally visit Colin sometime the next few months. And he's in Virginia, and you're in Virginia, and it's not exactly the smallest state in the U.S., but I don't quite remember where you live, GT. He lives around Richmond. But I might be able to make a trip down there too and see you. Ugh. Whoo, I'm dizzy. Anyway, man, I have a big zit on my forehead. It looks great on camera, doesn't it? Well, you gotta come down here to see him. Yeah, I know. I'm going to. Since all my scheduling might be officially opened up now, I'm going to do that. Hey Charlie. Hey Aaron. Hey Landon. Hey Elias. Garrett. Oh, I said hi. Hey Matt. Hi Tech Nerd. Steven, iMac 2012? Right here? No, it's my 2011. I just put Windows on it so I can do the flashing the video card video. And it's currently sort of working. It's running Windows. I guess that's a start. In fact, give me 1 second. What version of Windows? I originally set up Windows 7 on it, and the installer, dizzy, the installer froze up on me towards the end, so I just put Windows 10 on it. By the way, Windows 10 will not boot in UEFI mode on a Mac Pro. Huh? GT with the OpenCore, it should. Even without OpenCore, if you're not afraid of completely eradicating your Mac, aka don't do it unless you're using OpenCore. Yeah, you like that shirt, Charlie? I think I was wearing it in the announcement video I filmed last night, too. Thank you, Trina. I kind of want one of those clunkier unibody iMacs. I've never owned an Intel iMac. It's not that clunky. The clunkier one is sitting in there. My mid 2007. I'm having some kind of problem with it not booting properly. Tech Nerd, if it's on an iMac, the reason why is I guarantee you it's trying to run it in UEFI. You'll need to convert it to MBR. That's always the problem, usually when it comes to Windows 10, which we are running with no drivers installed because I literally had just gotten it going when that giant thunderstorm hit the East Coast. It hit me. And I'm like, I'm shutting it down. So this is actually an older copy of Windows 10. It was the only disk I had laying around. It doesn't matter what version of Windows you're running as long as the flashing software will run on it. So I don't really plan on doing a whole lot of updating on it. But it is running Windows. It's what it looks like with my custom rainbow logo on it. You saw it in the GPU swap video. It's having a lot of problems booting up into other operating systems now, so it needs the video card flashed, and luckily I have one of the cards that are now flashable. I just got to learn how to do it and film it at the same time, which is going to be fun. Super fun. Yeah. So Charlie wants to own a semi-new Mac. It is shocking, Charlie, for sure. Trying to get my hands on a mid-2010 17-inch MacBook Pro. Well, Charlie, other than that capacitor problem, it is probably the best one you can go for. But if you want more compute power, go for the 2011 if you're not afraid of the dying GPU problem. You can bypass that. You just won't have dedicated graphics. But a little more CPU power is beneficial. Plus you can run eGPU with a little hacking. That's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to probably, when I build my 17-inch 2011, which I actually was going to also include the video for the preview, but that's sitting next door. My internet's going wonky again. This is going to be a short live stream. I can't do a whole lot about the internet. But I actually am going to get the 2011 17-inch to work, and that's going to probably become my dedicated traveling editing machine, and I'm just going to carry my eGPU with me and have it do the rendering work. And man, is there a lot of dust on that. So, what card are you trying to flash, GT? That would be the 765M GTX 765M. Why am I blurry now? This stream's going great. Come on. There we go. So. Let's see here. Cultural memeism. I guarantee you it's because of your RAM. If you actually check your system, I guarantee you that you have 1 gigabyte or 512 megabyte modules. And Pike, the guy who created the custom boot.efi, messed up the code when he released it. And I've been begging Colin to fix it, but Pike never fixed it before he was forcefully retired. Long, sad story on that. But he never fixed it. So you need at least 2 gigabyte modules in size. Anything 2 gigabyte or bigger will work. Anything below that in module size won't work, and it will cause freezes and crashes. And that's how you fix it. Do you know if the 2012-27 iMacs have the known GPU issues? If it has a 680M, I don't know. There were some 2012 Macs that had some issues, I think. But I don't think there was a big issue there. I have 4 times 1 gigabyte DIMMs. That's your problem. You need to, if you had any other bigger DIMMs in it, I'd say just take those ones out and it would at least run. But if you take those out, you don't have any RAM. So you need to get some RAM. And that will fix it. I guarantee it. Hi, Scarlett. How you doing? See you later, Charlie. Thank you, GT. Yeah, thumbs up, guys. Oh, still dizzy. I really wish I wasn't allergic to that dog medication. Then again, the funny thing is, I'm also allergic to dogs. And I'm a dog person, and a dog lover, and a dog owner. So I just get a triple whammy. But I'd rather be allergic to dogs and have dogs than not have dogs, so. I'm doing pretty decent, Scarlett. I'm just tired, kind of sick, because I'm allergic to my dog's medicine. And I got it all over me. I've all recovered that. That is Mac Pro heaven. All Macs go to heaven. Pulled my iPad 2 from back in the day out of storage recently, and it's more useful than I could have thought. Well, yeah, Aaron, the iPad 2 is probably the most useful over the time iPad ever made. I mean, support up to OS 9. It had the longest range of iOS support. And iOS 9 is still a very, very, sorry, I really shouldn't be streaming right now. It's just, iOS 9 is still a pretty good OS, and it's had a very good life. Even if it is at EOL, it's impressive how useful they still are. thank you, Blast the Rios, the young eagle. Once again, that's why I'm glad I'm thankful I don't have allergies, and I'm a cat person. Yeah, iPad Mini didn't age as well as the iPad 2, honestly. iPad Mini, I don't know why, because iPad Mini 1 was actually faster. But the iPad Mini 2, they just optimized the heck out of it. Hey Jake, oh, hold on, how you doing? Did you check the group message, Groovy? I know, GT. I will eventually. So what's going on with the Xserve? Xserve's fine. It's running right now in my basement, running converting all of my time capsule and transferring my time capsule backups into it. So I can use it as the time capsule, but it's a very inefficient time capsule, although it is a lot faster. I kind of regret building the thing because I don't think I'm going to be able to use it for long, because I almost have filled the entire thing up. Yeah. And you wanted MacYac to go on. Of course I did. Because then you would be doing the stream and I wouldn't have to worry about my internet keep dropping out. Some apps aren't working correctly, notably Discord, but I might be able to fix that though. It's just because OS 9, that was the last. Was that the last? Or was it 10? But it was the last, one of the last 32-bit based operating systems. So coding going backwards for that, they don't support older ones as well. I see you got Windows on the iMac in the background. Yes, I did, Jake. That's the iMac I'm going to be flashing the video card to. It's got to be running Windows. So I got Windows on it. Did I find any way to use a larger hard drive? You can't. It's just the way that it's written, encoded. If someone could hack the RAID firmware, you could probably go up to 2 terabyte. But it's really driving me crazy. Sorry. If you could hack the firmware and upgrade it to version 1.6, it's on 1.5.1, that's the most recent. If you could add code in it for 2 terabyte drives, you could do it, but no one ever did it. So let's see here. What latency are you using, because it takes a while to see stuff? Low latency. I'm not using normal. If I use ultra low, it sometimes really messes everything up. So that's the one I'm using, GT. I'm going to be getting a 4th gen time capsule hopefully at some point soon. They aren't expensive at all. Make sure you do cooling mods on it. That's the one I use. If you don't, the fan that's in it blows onto the hard drive, but only blows on the bottom corner of it on the side. So honestly, the fan is useless. Plus, there's no really intakes for it. So it's not really even moving air at all. So the hard drives will overheat, and if you upgrade the hard drive, you're going to melt it in about a year and a half. I know from experience, I lost an 8 terabyte drive because of it. But if you do the cooling mods, aka rip the bottom rubber off of it and just leave the holes to vent, and elevate it, put some kind of something to use as feet. I used those little rubber door stoppers for the doorknobs. I stuck those to the bottom of mine. And it actually helps to have some airflow going under it, but it's not really essential. I just like having airflow going under mine. That will help the hard drive stay cool and not overheat and melt. So I might do Ubuntu on the Mac Pro since I have an empty hard drive. Would I do 32 or 64? Either one's going to be really hard to get on those. It's not impossible, but it's difficult to get them on. You need usually need a custom bootloader to get it to work. I still to this day haven't gotten it to work properly, but a lot of people have. If you use a custom bootloader, I would recommend using 64-bit. Otherwise, it just won't work right. You won't be able to use everything. So 64-bit with a custom bootloader, you should be able to get it to run. Oh, okay, I use ultra low for Mac Hack. Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons why I don't use it, JT. 10 was the last version for 32-bit. Discord requires iOS 10. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting, Tech Nerd, about the iPad story. I'd read it out, but I'm too dizzy to. But it's a very interesting story, man. Very, very interesting. Those stacked G4 Max. Will you guys stop saying that? They're totally stable. You just saw. They just saw me, Steve. Grab them and shake them. They're not going anywhere. It's impressive, 90s Skater Dude. Yeah, make sure you keep good airflow around them at least, because yes, they do run hot. There is no airflow in them, so they will bake themselves. They're like the first generation Apple TV that you could fry eggs on the top of. They're quite similar to that in thermal ability. And they'll just melt hard drives randomly. That's why they usually die, because they run so hot that they'll actually start melting components and stuff on the boards, and that's what killed a lot of the early ones, which had the same design as the 4th gen. Just some redefined hardware in them. But that's what was probably killing them, because it was just melting components on the inside and killing them. So you want to make sure they're nice and cool. How can I get past the black screen? On what? Okay. Yeah. Your Windows 7 64-bit. You need to follow my video on how to do that. Basically, you have to compile... You have to compile. Why is my phone vibrating so much? Oh. Okay. You have to compile the install disk and strip out all the EFI crap in it that Windows has. because 32-bit EFI Macs do not support the Windows EFI part of the installer. So when you get to that black screen and it freezes, that's because it's locking the whole thing up. And the 32-bit EFI Macs just have no clue what to do with it. So there's a way to strip it and make a new disk without the UEFI crap in it. And it will allow you to boot it. It will just instantly boot into the disk. That would have been Mac Pro Series episode, I want to say it was around episode 10 or 11 of season 1. So check that out. Mine seems to run pretty cool. Bet Greg has added a fan to his. I have, Steve. I run a 80 millimeter PC case fan, hand wired into a USB adapter. AKA, I wired the wire straight into a USB-A plug, and I have it plugged in the USB port on the back of the time capsule to run the fan. It works. I've actually had that fan running. That was originally on my mom's Linksys router that kept overheating. That fan's been running nonstop for probably 10 years now. No issues. And the fan itself is about 20 years old. I remember buying it. It was one of the first trips I ever took to a computer store. I wanted to buy something, so I bought a case fan. It was on sale. So that thing has had a long history with me, and it's still running. It's now cooling the main router in the house because it is another overheating Linksys router. I need to stop buying Linksys garbage. I remember back in the day when Linksys was actually PC Mag's #1 rated company, and everything worked perfectly every time, and then it went downhill really fast, and I was an idiot and continued buying it anyway. My phone's favorite thing to do is go off for no reason. Yeah, software on Android is just, you have to remember they write that for multiple different devices. It's like Windows, really, when you think about it, because Windows is written for multiple different types of hardware. Android's similar. There's lots of devices out there running the same OS, so they can't streamline everything, and a lot of things bug out and glitch out. Let's see here. Yeah, thank you, Matt. I read that about the, yeah. Can you put Kodi on those Macs? Which Macs? You can put, for these right here, you could put XBMC up to, I think, 12 or something like that on them. That was the last that supported Leopard, I think. And then Kodi runs on any other Mac, really. My friend had to put a heat sink on his Linksys with a tiny fan. That's exactly what I did on my mom's. I literally drilled a hole in the top of it. It was one of those flat ones that were kind of horseshoe shaped, and they were notorious for overheating really badly. In fact, it had fried the 5 gigahertz band on that thing. I went to Radio Shack, bought a bunch of copper heat sinks, put it on all the chips, and then drilled a hole in the center of it and screwed that fan that I told you guys about into the top of that and blew air into it. And it ran for another 5 years like that before we retired it and I upgraded her to AC. So, and no, she's not using a Linksys anymore. I actually upgraded her to, I think it was a Netgear. I found it at Goodwill, of all places, for like $5. And it was a high-end, I think it's a Netgear, high-end AC router. Who donates that? And why didn't Goodwill realize what they had? But it was like a $100 router, even at that time when I found it. And I got it for $5. So I gave it to her and upgraded her that way. And that's been the most reliable internet she's ever had in that house. Yeah, you're just lucky, Aaron, because I've had nothing but problems with Linksys since about 2007-ish. I had the blue WRT, the classic wireless G1. Bought that in about 2005. Had that up until about 2007 or 8 when I upgraded to N. And that's when everything went to heck. And I haven't had a good track record with them ever since. Even had the AC 1900 WRT for my dad. And when I inherited his place, that thing I got too. And it actually had a fan built into it. The fan died in it. And I didn't have internet for like a month here. And couldn't figure out why, because it was running fine. At least I thought it was. No, it had been overheating the whole time. And that was my big issue. I thought it was the modem. It was that stupid Linksys. So I went with Apple's recommended node system. This is what replaced the Airport Expresses and Extremes and stuff, was these stupid Linksys node systems. The Envelope, I think it's called. Apple recommended it, so I bought them. And that was the stupidest thing I ever did, because now my internet's even worse. But I do have internet across the whole house now. It's just these drop out all the time. And I'm noticing that the connection keeps dropping out again. My internet's in the basement. And I can't go into the basement to stream right now. So that's why everything's not super reliable. And you're probably getting streamed over this right now into my router downstairs. And yeah, this thing is a pile of garbage. I spent way too much money on this stuff. And I'm debating whether I should sell it all on eBay at really cheap price or just take a hammer to all of it and then set it on fire. That's how much I love it. So, yeah. See you later. See you in a bit, Tech Nerd. Let's see here. On Mac Mini 2007, can you Kodi on it because it kept crashing when I was trying to install it? Yeah, if it won't work in Lion, install Windows 10 and it should work. The biggest problem you'll probably have is just a RAM problem. It's a 2007, so you can max it out to 4 gigs officially, but it will only use 3. So I usually recommend buying 3 gigs, so one gig and one 2 gig module. And thank you, GT, for the super chat. Thank you, bud. But run Windows 10 on it. It will run the latest version of Kodi without any issue in theory. Your GPU, which is the GMA 950, might not like it a whole lot, but it should run it. Let's see here. How can I find a quad G5 cheap? Alex, finding quad G5s cheap. You just gotta be in the right place at the right time. You'll usually find them for free, just getting tossed out. Otherwise, you go on eBay and you pay a few $100, usually around 400 for one. I wouldn't do that. Just ask around, see if someone's getting rid of one. If you find one, you're lucky. I got mine because it was being recycled. Jay Bry gave it to me. Or you might be able to find some parts and build one. I'm about to build one too. But I got mine for free. Quads, in real life, if you are really serious about having one, I wouldn't spend more than $100 on one. Shipping is just a nightmare. I'd recommend trying to find it local. That's all you can really do is just luck out on finding one. Because I would not buy one on eBay. They're always way overpriced. They're not worth anywhere near what they want. The eBay effect, as Mac Eck would say. They're not worth anywhere near that. But then again, people still buy them because they have legacy software and it's the most powerful power PC ever made. You can also look around and see if you can find a broken one. If you're lucky, even if the pump is screwed up, if you're lucky, the chips are fine. And you can, I'll be doing a video on air converting one eventually. You can air convert it, or you can try to find another pump that's not broken, or you can try to fix it yourself. But that's another way. If you can find one that's broken, you can probably find it pretty cheap. I don't buy anything from Linksys, and I don't plan on buying anything from them in the future. Well, I think the biggest problem that Linksys had was Cisco bought them out. My WRT Blue Wireless G1 was before Cisco bought them. And then everything went downhill. The second that Cisco bought them, it just went phew. And that was my second Linksys router. So I think it was Cisco that actually killed Linksys. I just got this Linksys handed to me new, and I plan on going airport. Yeah, actually the airport extremes are still very good. The 5th gen extreme, or is it 6th gen, or can't remember. I think it's 5th gen. The tower ones that look like the stupid little crappy Node, only taller and with an Apple logo on it. A heck of a lot more reliable than this garbage. And you can link them together. It's not really noding them together. I can't remember how it's called. Mesh. It's not really meshing them together, but on an Apple device, it's just basically meshing it together. You can buy multiple of them really cheap now and just link them all together. It's probably what I'm going to eventually do. Even after I wire the place, I want multiple access points. I'm just going to link them all together. I have one, and I'm going to see if I can't buy a lot of them, a literal lot of them from eBay for a few $100, if that. I'll just put one in every room. I don't care. It's going to be a lot more reliable than having 5 of these or 6 of these sitting around and overheating all the time. This thing's getting really hot. So it must be really pumping the stream through it. So take a hammer to it. It would make a good video. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and GT, I'm still Etherneting too, but I just haven't yet. Just don't crazy kin the G5. That was a disaster, no kidding. And I've got another dual 2.7 sitting downstairs with another busted pump in it. My G5 that sort of fried itself afterwards because one of the heat sensors I think went bad on it and it wasn't cooling it right. I think that's what killed that CPU. But I now have like I think it's like six 2.7 G5s. I have a set sitting in a box over there with a busted pump still glued to them. I've got the one sitting in the air-cooled converted one. Those two are sitting over there. Then I got one downstairs that I'm also working on. I'm going to get that air-cooled system to run somehow, some way, some shape, some form, and I guarantee you it will work. I'm going to send every CPU to Jay, and then whatever he sends back to me, I'm going to find the two nicest looking ones. We're going to get that thing to air cool. I like how you said that, GT. One tall one and two squat ones. Yeah, the Extreme and the Expresses. Extreme and Expresses. The little squat ones are the little white hockey puck ones that look like the second and third generation Apple TV. What is your favorite Mac? And I get asked this every single Q&A. My favorite Mac, I can't really tell you. I have to split it up into categories. Steve has the same problem. It's for PowerPC Tower. You asked about these sitting behind me. These aren't MDDs. This is my favorite Mac for a tower. Quicksilver. In fact, we'll just leave it like that. Bug you guys some more. Quicksilver is my favorite tower. My favorite desktop for PowerPC would be the iMac G4. Let's see here. Favorite notebook PowerPC, probably the Pismo. It's a hard one, honestly. For Intel, favorite tower would be the 5,1 Mac Pro because it's still very, very useful today. Intel is just not very enthusiastic, honestly. And then for the 68K Macs, I don't have much of an opinion on them. I have two Macintosh Pluses. But those are my favorite Macs. And usually say one more, and I can't remember what it is right offhand. I am just too scrambled. I've got a dual 2.7. It always worked good so far. I'd tear it down. I guarantee you, if you haven't, it's leaked. It just hasn't fried itself yet. So I would stop using it and tear it down now. Better than later, trust me. Because even if it's running, if it's leaking over on everything, it will eventually corrode the heck out of it and kill it anyway. So my stream that's on here is now about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes behind me. So I'm glad I'm looking at OBS, otherwise I'd have no clue where I am right now. Aren't those Quicksilvers rare? No. Them still working is kind of rare. The top one works, and it's going into the bottom one, because the bottom one's my very first Power Mac G4, and I've fried it multiple times. And power supplies are notorious for blowing like in the MDD. A little less than the MDD, but still notorious for blowing. They don't cool well at all, but they're beautiful. That's why I love them, because they're so it's just an elegant design, but it's poor. It's a poor design. But they have a tendency of running so hot that they'll literally bake the cache chips right off the CPUs and kill the L3 cache. That was the first problem that the bottom one had, and then it just had more problems. Lots more problems, but the chips will melt in them, and they cool like crap. It was a horrible thermal design. So, but they look really good. That's why I love them. It's just they look so good. So. Waiting for his Great Dane to come in and jump on the table. She's out cold, GT. Those were the shit for audio production back in the day. Bottom one. I think it's called Elsewhere Studios. If you look up elsewherestudios.com or something like that, Kevin from Elsewhere Studios started his company on the bottom one. And then the bottom one had a lot of problems. He swapped out the optical drive because it died. I think he swapped out the hard drive because it died. He swapped out the power supply because it died. And then he eventually just stopped using it because it was getting so slow, and then it started giving graphical problems. The problem why it was giving graphical problems was because the L3 cache had melted off the CPU card. This was a dual 1 gigahertz. And I didn't realize that. I thought it was just overheating. And it was, because the thermal paste was completely gone. If it had any to begin with, Apple back in the day was really weird about that. But it was completely gone. And once I repasted it, it started working again. But I didn't realize it had no L3 cache in it. The chips had literally just melted off. They were still there, but they weren't connected to anything. Yeah. But that thing, after I realized the L3 cache was a problem, I replaced the CPUs with one that Michael Stanhope gave me, dual 1 gigahertz, and there was something wrong with them, and it sent a literal lightning bolt straight through the board. It shot out the side of the case and everything. It scared the crap out of me, but it fried the logic board. So I swapped out logic boards, and the power supply apparently got fried too. So when I plugged it back in and hit the power button, another lightning bolt shot out the side of the board, fried the power supply and logic board. So that thing plus the logic board I have sitting over there will fix it. Again, it's had a very long, rough life. And it's been, the last few years have been me trying to get it to work properly again, the way it was when it was new. But yeah, he started his audio production company with that system. And I want it to continue to live on, even if it's just basically at this point the case. The case is his. And actually the top panel I'm replacing too, because it's all pockmarked. But the rest of the case is his. So. Favorite iPhone model? 6S, because it had the, it was the first 4K camera, I think. Might have been the 6. No, I think it was the 6S. First 4K camera, and it had a headphone jack. In fact, I still have my 6S sitting over here somewhere. It runs my dad's backup, and I'm using his old 10S Max now, but 6S is still a very good phone. fact, everything made by Apple is elegant, but there's always something wrong. No kidding. The MDD was a better cooling design by a long shot. In fact, there's multiple reasons why they called it the wind tunnel. Because you can literally, if you hold a light to the front of it, you can see the light coming out the back of it, because it literally is a wind tunnel. That, in fact, was extremely loud. It sounded like one. But it cooled better, and they still overheated, too. They're great candidates to add extra fans, though. These things, even if you add extra fans, the air can't go anywhere. The exhaust fan that's in this thing, Apple was going for a quiet exhaust fan. So the exhaust fan in this thing, I wonder if I can show you without breaking something. Can't really show it to you. But the exhaust fan on this was gimped. Why is it not closing? Huh. I didn't realize that was broken. Well, good thing the bottom one's, the latch tray on the top of that thing's broken. But the exhaust fan on this thing comes out of a hole about this big. It's a rectangular hole about this big. And it blows at such a slow speed and is connected straight into 12 volt. It runs at such a slow speed that you can't even feel the air coming out of it. So one way to fix some of the airflow problem and keep it from melting itself, which I'll have to do, is you just wire another, I think it's a 40 millimeter fan, you just wire another 40 millimeter fan that hasn't been gimped by Apple into it. It will make it extremely loud, but it will keep it from overheating, usually. It was a very poor design all over, but man, it looked good. That's why it's my favorite, because the MDD it's grown on me. It's just great hardware-wise. It was very advanced. But it's still ugly as hell. Aesthetically, I'll go Quicksilver every day. But functionally, I'd go MDD every day. But I like the aesthetic of that. So that's what I go for when I say my favorite PowerPC tower. You're about 2 minutes behind the chat. I know that, GT. I'm just trying to catch up as quickly as I can. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, a lot of people say I deserve more subs, and I wouldn't disagree with them. Sup, guys? Anyway, all right. See you later, GT. Man, I must really be behind. MDDs are the worst. They look nice, though. Other way around. They're the best. They just don't look as nice. I really want digital audio and a FireWire 800. Digital audio has the same problem as the Quicksilver. Digital audio was literally what I call the prototype to the Quicksilver, because it is literally a Quicksilver on the inside. I think even the power supply connectors are the same. Everything in it is the same except for one thing. The Quicksilver's logic board has a fan header on it for the crappy exhaust fan. That's really the only difference. On the digital audio, the fan header is actually on the CPU card. On the Quicksilver, it's actually on the logic board. So, it's a little bit of trivia for you. But other than that, digital audio is a Quicksilver. It's just in a graphite case. In fact, I've considered finding a digital audio case and cramming a Quicksilver in it for the heck of it, but I don't know why I'd do that. It'd be kind of neat, though. And the FireWire 800 MDD, very, very good system. Still got one running 24/7 in my room back there, serving stuff and stuff. My dual 1.5 gigahertz, of course, it's overclocked. Runs great. And you know, it's got built-in wireless G and built-in Bluetooth if you get the modules for it, which is nice because then it doesn't take up PCI slots. And with the OS 9 libs patches and stuff, you can run OS 9 natively on it, which is also nice. But then again, I also love the 400 because the FireWire 400 is just, it's cool, and it was literally the last OS 9 supported Mac that Apple ever sold. And they sold it because people needed OS 9 and kept complaining that Apple wasn't selling them anymore. So. I want a beige G3, the one that can run OS 10, but I can't find any. Are they rare? Matt, sorta. They're rare for the fact that they weren't built well. And they were used into the ground. They were meant to be just used into the ground. That's the problem with finding a 9600 like I made the Power Express tribute out of. 9600s in mint condition are impossible to find. I still can't believe I found that one. But it's the problem is that they're just poorly made. They had heat issues also. They had problems overheating. And like I said, they were ran in the ground, and the plastics on them, of course, turn yellow because they're beige. And they also get very brittle. So to find a good shape one is nearly impossible, but not completely impossible. And usually you'll find them with broken panels and stuff on them, and a lot of them just don't run. They're not rare, they're just all been trashed because they've been ran into the ground. But they're out there, you just have to keep looking. Used to have a Quicksilver G4 back in the day. Got a new DV cam. Editing back then was cool. Yeah, it was. In fact, I've got a DV cam of all my childhood videos that I filmed. Mini DV. The record head's broken on it now. It only now plays back. But I've been trying to get it to read on my FireWire 800. I just can't get it to record. But it's really neat how that all worked. I think it's one of the neatest things. I need to do a video on it one day. Thank you for your sub, Alex. What's your take on the eMac? If you asked me this a few months ago, I would have said, it's the ugliest, most useless machine that Apple ever made. It wasn't useless because it's basically just a CRT iMac G4. At least the first ones were. Later on, they were in a way better and sometimes in a way worse. Anyway, it's just a CRT iMac G4. It's ugly. I'll still agree with myself in the past. It's an ugly machine. But once you have one, you understand why people keep collecting them. They are addictive. They are a really neat machine. They're really heavy, bulky, and hard to move around. But they are a neat machine. They have a beautiful screen, and they are very durable and pretty reliable. But they're ugly as hell. They're right next to the G3 Molar Mac, honestly, in appearance. But some people love them. They think they're beautiful. I don't think they're beautiful, but they're a nice machine. Emacs with USB 2 were nice machines. Yes. In fact, if you buy if you have a 1.25 gigahertz with the Radeon 9200 graphics, you can actually hack it to run OS 9, 100% supported for everything except for the airport. It will work. And that is the fastest AIO experience you can have with OS 9. The 1.42 will not work because it will run 9, but it won't have acceleration because the 9600 did not have OS 9 drivers. But you can get hacked drivers for the 9200 and make the fastest AIO system with OS 9 support. And in fact, I'm going to be, when I get one, I'm going to be making the fastest eMac in the world with Colin Mister based off of that. Not the one with the 9600 in it. Based off the one with the 9200, and also make the world's fastest OS 9 AIO system too. That should be fun. Let's see here. Thoughts on WarpOS. If you saw my preview video, I've got it running on the PowerBook sitting over there. It's okay so far. I'm not an Amiga guy, or I think it was Amiga. What was it? I know someone out there that's going to see this video is going to be, it's not Amiga, but is it Amiga? I can't remember. But I'm not a huge fan of the software, honestly. I think it was a waste of money. But it's fast. It's really fast. And it's amazing how fast it really is. But it's not really for me. But you'll see all that in the video coming up on it. Any updates on your experiments with newer CPUs on the 1, 1, 2, 1? I haven't even gotten the 3, 1 to work yet. Although I do have the CPUs, I just haven't had time to do it. Here's the CPUs for it. The 3, 1 still sitting next to me. I just haven't had time to try to get them to work. I'm going to actually probably have to bring the 3, 1 with me when I go see Colin. Because he might actually need it when we do it. But if we can get that to work, sky's the limit. Because if we get that working, it's a pretty good chance that the 1, 1, 2, 1 will work too. So we'll see. Yeah, ABS plastic does not age well at WAN. Specs per spec, you could get the iMac in $98.99 at the same speed as a beige G3 for $1,000 less. So they didn't sell once the blue and whites came out. Yeah, basically. 2003 compact. Do the thermal paste. Make sure airflow is working well. Because compacts probably do run hot, but I never had a compact from that era. But they were very heavy-duty systems. Need a Guinness World Records for Grudy. He keeps making the best of something. Well, if there is a Guinness World Records thing on making the fastest in the world Macs, Colin and I would be in it already, probably. I don't know, honestly, because there are some Macs that you can really max out. But so far we have the fastest because no one else is stupid and crazy enough or willing to spend as much money as, oh my God, that I spend on these things. That moment you come to the realization that you've been wasting a lot of money on this stuff. But yeah, there's just not many people out there as crazy and stupid as I am to keep dumping money into this for calling to do it. But we'd probably already have the record if there was a record to break. Amiga is correct. That's good to know. How is it going with... Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. eGPU and Mac Minis. It should work. I just haven't actually tested it. I haven't had time to film the Mac Minis video since the first one. I still need to... Excuse me. Still a little dizzy. I still need to... what was I doing? Oh, yeah, Mac Minis. I still need to upgrade the mid-2012. I'm actually thinking, because I didn't know it existed, I should have, the Mac Mini 5,3, which was the mid-2011 Mac Mini server, was the only 2011 Mac Mini with a quad core in it. I want to get one of those. In fact, I might either sell one the 2011s I already have, or give it away. I'm not sure yet. That might be a future giveaway video. Who knows? We'll see. But I kind of want to get one of those and experiment with it. And that means that it probably performs faster than the fastest 2014 also. Sad, really. But the stuff's coming. I just haven't had time to film it. My eGPU enclosure, I think, works fine. The problem was the RX 580 I bought for it, that I actually put the enclosure together on Livestream, had a blown MOSFET in it. I didn't know it until after the warranty claim had gone up on it. So when I was actually testing it, it wouldn't turn on. But I did get a replacement 580. It's currently sitting downstairs folding. It's working as far as I know. So I will be eGPUing it eventually and doing those videos. My school was throwing away iMac G3 on the street a few years back, one full pallet. You should have grabbed them all, Stephen. Let's see here. Apple says eGPUs require a Thunderbolt 3. So, it will work on 1 and 2. There is a little patch. You have to, of course, disable SIP. There's a little patch you run in Terminal, and it enables 1 and 2 support also. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to try to keep this going as long as MacHack usually runs. Stream seems to have finally caught up with me. Ever thought about replacing that MOSFET? Yes, but I'm not skilled enough to do it. I might let Jay experiment with it. I will be eventually, but I haven't had time to actually teach myself onboard soldering. Yeah, if Jay can find the MOSFET, he can fix it. I'm sure he can fix it. But that blowing might not be the only thing wrong with it. I'm hoping that's the only thing wrong with it, but still. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, any Thunderbolt will support eGPU with one simple patch. I'll be doing a video on how you do that. There's actually a few videos on YouTube that talk about it if you're interested. So, my internet's probably going to go out soon because it sounds like that storm's coming back from yesterday. it sounds like a hurricane outside. And of course, I'm over Wi-Fi. I know. But all the interference of that outside will probably start messing up the Wi-Fi. And may also disconnect my internet eventually. So if the stream ends, this has been a Rutke Mods video. But until the stream ends by either me or Mother Nature, you know. What is your favorite series that you do? iPod, PowerPC, etc. It's a hard one, Matt. My least favorite one is the Mac Pro series. I'll just come out and say it. There's some reason why I don't film it anymore. I need to film a lot more of it because that brings in a lot of people to watch. People love it, but I just don't want to do it. It's just not fun for me. And if it's not fun for me, I don't want to film it. But I do need to film it because there's a lot of videos I need to get out. And everyone's considering me a Mac Pro expert now, even though I'm not. I just help people. Everything I've learned has been from YouTube and Google and Facebook groups. And then I just relay that on a video. Everything I've learned. I am not in any way, shape, or form an expert, but people keep thinking I am. And I keep getting labeled as the Mac Pro Series guy. I want to branch out away from the Mac Pro Series. That's why I haven't filmed anything in over a year for it. But like I said, I do need to film some more for it because I need to get this thing running right. What we're streaming off of right now. But that's my least favorite. But the other ones, iPod series is fun for me sometimes. Going to be upgrading my Mini to 256 gig. You know, iPod series is pretty fun. My most favorite one is the biggest series I have. And that's the PowerPC series, right there. I've always loved filming it. I always have fun filming it. It's definitely my favorite. I never hesitate when I have a chance to film it. I film it, and I just have a lot of pride in that series, and you know. It's fun. Plus, it helped me get over my grandmother's death. It was the first series I started afterwards. Bitrate is lower than recommended. Whatever. As long as it's still on. But that's why I did the joke intros on it for Season 1. And I think the beginning of Season 2. It helped me feel better. And the whole series has helped me feel better. I love filming that series. And then the other series, they're okay. I don't hesitate to film them, usually. The Mac Oddware series, I want to film a lot more. I have so much oddware. In fact, where is it? The Air Bar. This is for a 15-inch MacBook Pro. I have no clue how it works. GT saw it on Facebook, and I bought it the second I saw it on the Facebook Marketplace. This clips on with magnets, which the magnets are over there somewhere, stuck to something, I'm sure. And it goes somewhere on the screen. I don't know exactly how this thing works yet. This is the only thing I got, that and the magnets. But this thing clips onto the screen, and then it becomes a touch screen for the MacBook Pro. It's pretty neat. And it's really weird oddware, honestly. And this would probably work with other things, but it's actually meant for 15-inch notebooks. We'll say that. I don't know if it's specifically meant for Mac, but it works on Mac. And it was previewed on a Mac when I bought it. Pretty neat. It uses IR, I think. Yeah. It's got IR right here. So it detects the movement of the IR getting spread across the screen. Makes a touchscreen. Neat oddware. I've got literally enough oddware for a whole season. I haven't had time to film it. Looks like a long sensor bar for the Wii, Nintendo Wii. I think it works the same way, really. I actually saved my compact from the school donating computers to e-waste. That's how I got my first Laserdisc player. My senior, I think it was my senior year. They were tossing out the Laserdisc player they hadn't used in probably 10, 15 years. And it was sitting in the pile of e-waste. In my library, and I was the IT guy for the school my senior year. And I just asked the librarian, who happened to be one of the IT people, if I could have it. She's like, yeah, just don't tell the school I gave it to you. So I walked out with it. And at the time, didn't have room at my place. So I let my friend drive off with it. He left it outside for like 3 weeks in the rain. And believe it or not, it was an industrial V2600. It worked totally fine. It dried out for a few days. It worked totally fine. It's still working today. I still kind of want to kill them over it, but it worked, so I'm not going to complain. But that's how I got my first Laserdisc player. And I'd been wanting a Laserdisc player for years, but I just never got one until I got one for free. And so yeah, school e-waste is fun sometimes. PowerPC is cool and everything, but your hacking, modding, and upgrading of older Intel Macs is pure gold. Well, thank you, Tobias. Yeah, I like doing that too. Like that, which you can't see. Like that. But sometimes it can be very frustrating. Laserdisc. Exactly, Steve. It's very interesting to know, Aaron. That's just why I figured how they worked. That works basically the same way. They were throwing away an iPad 2 with a loose connector. But I never took that one. Don't know why. Don't know why you wouldn't have either. I would have. Anyway, guys, so we're starting to wind down here. Let's see here. We got 10 minutes left. I'm just going to do the regular MacHack time, which means we're going to end at 9:30. This isn't an official MacHack video because I didn't have time to set up a MacHack. But I figured you guys would want to watch something since we canceled in the last few minutes. I didn't cancel. I didn't even know that we got canceled for the night until I waited on the call and nothing happened. So, time for me to stream with the image writer again. Just kidding. Go for it, Steve. I want to see you actually get the image writer to work. We could be here until next week. You try to get it to work. I'll be on the MacHack Discord after this stream. Cool, Matt. Yeah, I might be. My connection keeps dropping in and out. So I apologize if you're missing anything. Finally got my 2 gigs RAM ordered for my dual 2.5, 2.7. Or enjoy trying to set it up with an SSD tomorrow. It should be fun, Dana. They were also throwing out a bunch of IBM computers, similar to those gateways you have. Yeah. Yeah, those gateways, I don't know what to do with them. In fact, the last few PowerPC upgrades and stuff I've done, I've been stripping them for parts because a lot of those parts are work with Macs. In fact, I tore down one of the fully functional optical drives just to fix the dual layer burner that's in my Power Express, and it didn't work. And I just didn't put the drive back together because not really much of a point. It's not worth anything. But yeah, I've got a pile of those parts sitting over there of it. But they have sentimental value to me because it's one of the last giant purchases my dad made for his business before it went under. Um, it didn't go under his leadership, but it still went under. And I ended up with them all once he got the building back and got rid of it. And they're still pretty decent machines for Windows XP machines, but they have cap plague pretty bad now, and most of the caps are going bad in them. And a lot of the systems that were dying, I have a pile of part systems from the company. I think literally were only because the cap plague, and the ones that work won't work much longer because the caps are bulging. I could recap them all, but it's not worth recapping them. So I'm just going to run them into the ground until they pop, and then use them for parts. And that's what I've been doing. I've been using them for parts ever since. I need to find a PS2 tower. I want one really bad. That's one of those PCs I really want, especially the ones with the really big red power switches on the front. It's so neat. I could make one really weird and awesome sleeper build out of it. I really want to do that one day, but they are hard to find in good shape. I gotta think of something good to stream. Yes, you do, Steve. I want to see something from you tonight. You do it. Anyway, guys, we got about 5 minutes left before we end the stream. I want to mention, because even though this isn't a MacAC video, this is a Rutke Mods video, don't forget that we do have a Discord. And Steve, could you please put the Discord link in it, because I forgot to get a copy of it again. But we have a Discord. If you join the Discord, you'll see there's only one channel, and you have to read the instructions on what to do. Once you follow the instructions, you'll be able to see all the channels and be able to chat with us, even on voice. We'll be on MacYac voice chat every Thursday night. It's just a great place to hang out. Check it out for sure. Oh God, cell phone! Don't remind me. What? Oh yeah, the cell phone video. Oh, that was a weird video there, Steve. Well, Steve's not making the link, so let's see if I can find it. Maciac. I don't know how you do it anymore. Here it is. Invite. Never. No limit. Generate. Copy. Paste. Thank you, Steve. Of course, now he doesn't. So both of those will take you to MacYac. You know what I want to do sometime? Blame YouTube for not letting me copy and paste text for a YouTube app, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. I know, Steve. But anyway, it's something I want to do sometime. I did that back in the day, mentioning about Android and stuff. I want to do a video on how you convert a Amazon Fire, the original tablet Amazon Fire, and root it to make it into a normal Droid. It was fun to do. I did that back for my mom so she could have the Google Play Store on it. She still has it, I think, but she hasn't used it in a long time. But that was a fun thing to do. I think you can do it with the later Fires too. It's just fun to root them. It's one of the most fun experiences I ever had trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. I did that with an HP touchpad. Yeah, I want to do that with an HP touchpad too. It's so strange that thing even today still supports the latest Droid with the hacks. It's so strange that it just did not live on. They should have just dropped WebOS completely and just went straight for it. So, but anyway, guys, so it is 9:28. I'm going to start wrapping everything up. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, GT, for the super chat. It means a lot, man. And yeah, don't forget, I do now have a Patreon. If you'd like to support me and see my videos that aren't live streams early, you can join me over there, help support me. Watch here, you know, blah, blah, blah. It still helps me out, but, you know, if you want to go the extra mile, I'd greatly appreciate it. Yes, WebOS is still used on LG smart TVs, which is really odd that they're still doing that. Most smart TVs are now Droid. But yeah. Thank you, Trina, for the thumbs up. Yeah, if you guys want to give me a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. 21 viewers, it's not bad for me. But yeah, I actually am feeling a lot better, Aaron. The dog medication has worn off mostly. I'm just a little numb right now, but I'm feeling pretty good now. I'm just a little tired. But yeah, thank you guys for joining today. Sorry that MacYak got canceled so late, but I'm glad you hopped over here and help support my channel. I gotta now make the thumbnail for this video and actually do everything else. I'll probably live stream either today or tomorrow, so click on my icon and you'll know when I do. Exactly. Go check out Steve Mac84 and his channel. Hopefully, Steve, you do it tonight because I don't have anything to do tonight. So, yeah, get on it, Steve. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Steve. Anyway, so yeah, that's the end of today's video, guys. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I'll see you, Tech Nerd. Yeah, anyway, guys. You have some video on the SSD drive for a 2018 Mac Mini. You can't upgrade SSDs in the Mac Minis because I think they're soldered on and they're also T2 chips. But you can on the 2014, and I have a video on how to use a PC one. It's pretty fun. But anyway, I got to end the video because I'm already over time for MacYak's time. So, thank you guys for joining. And this has been a Rutk Mods video, and I will see you guys soon. I'll also be releasing a video soon with one of those things over there. So anyway, thank you for joining, and see you guys later. Bye.